to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear of that toxic cell. The bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gifts we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic cell. When the bell of our ancestors where it's felt.
My boyka, my boyka.
Passing through the gifts we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear
What up, what up?
When the bell of our ancestors where it's
Bienvenido
felt.
and welcome.
Passing
to a Monday recap.
So
Just got out of the summit with the Queen of Sheba III, Deborah Amelia Casamura, African Kingdom Federation. Raul back. Excuse me. Drink some water. Raul back. Greetings to all. Bienvenidos, saludos a todos. It's a Monday afternoon. I'm getting ready to do a chant at 3. For Monday, we have a summit with the Queen of Sheba African Kingdom Federation. We have summits, and today's summit is very, very important, man. I'm telling you, it's just very luminous. It's just very, I don't know the word to describe it, but I mean, it's always an honor, man, to again listen to the wisdom of the Queen of Sheba Kasambura, listen to her Imperial Majesty's wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had the pleasure to also hear the wisdom of Padnabayananan, okay, His Excellency Malachi Z. Kabina York, also had the fortunate to listen to the wisdom of many of our elders and stuff like that. This wisdom of Queen of Sheba the Third, it's telling you, very powerful, very powerful. The way she's able to bring things together. You know what I'm saying? It's just amplifies already, affirms and amplifies what I'm doing in life. Remember, we learn in the Sons of the Green Light. We learn one lessons, one wisdom that comes through the Sufi order, Sons of the Green Light, is that you see yourself. You have a perspective of yourself. That's one perspective. Then you have the perspective of those of how they see you. That's another perspective. Then there's a perspective of how natural nature views you. Yeah, natural nature. That perspective from natural nature of who you really are. So be yourself and be who you really are, because at the end of the day, it's going to manifest. It's going to manifest no matter how people see you, how you see yourself, but the reality of all is going to be manifest. That's all I want to say. And that's something that she touched upon. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into it. And I'm also going to share my screen on a couple of things. But I'm waiting for the chant. Let me see what I can share my screen here with. So as I'm looking here, I just wanted to say that having a wonderful experience. You know, I did get a little bit, like I said, wait a minute, where is that? Oh, here we go. The allergies, the pollen. I made a mistake. I touched some pollen. You got to be careful always touching your face, but the pollen was very strong out here. And, what I'm saying, I could feel it in my eyes and my throat. And now it's in my chest. So I felt it, so I am drinking a lot of water, ginger, water, garlic. It's usually natural remedies like that. And when I have some tea, I'm going to have some moringa. I'm going to make me some moringa tea today. Have that going on. But now, this recap, we spoke about, again, one of the questions. Let me see. Let me look at my notes, man. Peace and blessings there. Haram Kabs. All and blessings to you, everybody who's viewing this. So my notes here. We spoke about stories, you know what I'm saying, history, and how we have to become knowledgeable on history. But then another brother came on and said, it's more than history, it's our story. Because the queen did mention that, we can't look at things from the eyes of how other people wrote about us. We also have to know about ourselves. That is very, very important, and how we view ourselves. Remember, how other people see you and they write about you and how you see yourself. And then as we are living our life, we are telling our story. There's a story being told from a natural perspective, from the time of now. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where the mystery is at. That's my story, right? That's my story. That's a mystery. We learned this with Padma Bayanan, you know what I'm saying? And his story is just his or her story, their story, while they're telling the story. And then your story is again, the our story. Now, okay. Now, in the United Nations, they flipped it a little because they had a problem in UNESCO. And that is because when they try to document and look for documentation for African history and the methodology of that, when they started to look at it and compile a study in the United Nations and UNESCO, right, for education, the United Nations education, you had a problem when it came to certain stories, traditional stories that are certain, like for instance in Africa, a lot of these tribal traditional stories. So it wasn't written, right? The earliest you could find would be written from the Arabic perspective, because they set out historians and they invested in gaining stories, and they documented it and kept a lot of those manuscripts in their mosque. You know what I'm saying? Which operated like a lodge. When you find the lodges, libraries, they got Masonic libraries and stuff like that. And those are the most archival libraries that you can go to around the world. You know what I'm saying? So when we go back and we look at the oral traditions, some of the oral traditions have changed in Africa, right? A lot of it was passed through the craft, through a specific craft. You was iron crafting, or you was a blacksmith, or iron, what they call iron smelter, or dealing with metal. You had certain separate craft, or weaving the basket. That craft. There's certain stories that was passed on while you was weaving the basket. That's where oral tradition comes in. You know what I'm saying? It was kept in a lot of these applied sciences and traditions and culture, of the tribe. You know what I'm saying? So they had to look into that. You know what I'm saying? They started to document that later on in UNESCO. Certain writers, especially some PhDs from the university in Liberia and in Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? Started to compile, and in Ghana and compile a lot of these and actually write them in a script form. You know what I'm saying? What's that? Oh, sorry, I got my window open. I'm over here seeing things out here that I don't know. I don't see. But anyway, so it's important for us to know our story, and that way we know what was lost, what was interpreted wrong, or what was lost. So we really have to get into our story, you know what I'm saying, in terms of oral traditions that we know. If we're studying a specific tribe or family oral traditions, we got to know that. We have to know that. That can be changed here and there, but then again, the method of putting the pieces together, finding out the truth and putting all the pieces together. You can use scientific data, you can use mathematical equations and things of that sort in order to put those pieces together and arrive at some type of truth. You know what I'm saying? Because that's be your truth. You know what I'm saying? That you're arriving at your truth. So we spoke about that, So once we know our story, we get to know what's been lost. You know what I'm saying? What's been displaced. Now, there's a sister that came on and started speaking about um what about here in the diaspora? When you look at some Caribbean, Latin America, and even look at into the Americas, right? United States of Americas, Northern America, um, you have a lot of displacement. So people think there's not a lineage. But let me tell you something, that you could find certain lineages here in the Americas that are kept. That's why you have a person like Noble Drew Ali, you know what I'm saying? And Martin Luther King was a prince under certain tribe. He had Native American connections, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of that stuff they hide, you know what I'm saying? So there is lineages, but as personal, what we're learning personally is that that is important. If you know it, that is important. But more important, you have to think about the migrations, that even if you go into the continent of Africa, where all these tribes, let's say the Congo, that have 500 different kingdoms in there, kingdoms and queendoms, right? In the Congo alone, right? When you go in there and you ask certain tribal members, where did they come from? You see that there's a story of a migration and a migration, and then that leads to another migration. You have to, those periods, those dots, you have to connect those dots and see those migrations happening. Even here in America, coming from Africa, and then if you do your DNA, right, then you look at the migration. Like I got a lot of Mali in Congo, Benin, right? But many Mali, who migrated into that area of Mali? You see the many different migrations, the different tribal migrations, right? So when you trace it back, you go back to the center, back to the center, right? You get to the cradle of all these civilizations, or these houses, or these families that came out of a certain area, especially when you're dealing with the continent of Africa, right? That we know today as Africa, that continent. You see this lineages, you see these tribal lineages that goes back into the Nile Valley, right? Down to Uganda, go into the Khoi and the San people. When you even do the genetics, the oldest genetics, and you see the oldest stories, and you see this Ma Federation, and you see people migrating into Sumer, migrating into India, migrating into Europe, Iberian Peninsula, Morocco and on that area. You see this migration going on. But you look at the center and you see that it's coming from the Nile Valley, and they're heading out because that's the cradle. When you deal with geographical locations and you deal with the migration of the hominin, what they call the hominin, right? Homo sapiens sapiens, and on, hunter gatherers, and on. You see this migration going on if you look at it into anthropology. And you see this migration going on in oral traditions. It's many. So the most important thing is that we come from a lineage, we come from an area, we migrated from the Happy Valley. And that area in Sudan, what is known as Ethiopia back then, and that whole area where the blue and white Nile meets, right? And on that whole valley area, right? It's the birth of civilization, not the federation. Remember that the federation is different than the civilization. Talking about civilization, when you deal with federation, now you're going into the Ma Federation, you're going to the Niger Congo, and you're going to the Green Sahara. This is what you're looking at, right? Federation, hunter-gatherers, they gather and form themselves, families, and form the federation. And they went out. But then to form a civilization is different. Civilization is different than a federation. Federation get together and form civilization, but civilization don't birth federation because the federation is already in there. You know what I'm saying? So that's really important when you deal, with who are you? Who are you? Where do you migrate? Get back to the center of it, the mother of it all, the mother cradle of it all. Because again, there's displacement everywhere. So much migration that has been happening. You know what I'm saying? But if you know, and you have an affinity, and you have this likeness, and you have this connection with a certain tribe in Africa that's in the Ankang or the Igbo tribe, whatever, by all means. But when you go further and you search on and on and on, you see that they also migrated from a certain area. And usually that area is through the Nile Valley. They can trace that. That's in the oral tradition. So that's where we at right now. You know what I'm saying? That's where we at right now. So that's very important. When you know this, you get to see what has been lost. When you get to know your story. And then as time goes on, we are edging out new pages in this book of life. We're in the now, right now. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that was discussed. You know, and I felt that to be very powerful. It also is reaffirming Wu Sabat for me. You know what I'm saying? It's putting the pieces together. There's little synapses, there's lights going on, and those connections are being made. You know what I'm saying? And I'm beginning to stand to reason, the importance of things around me. You know what I'm saying? The importance. And again, share this, you know. So and speaking about Saba, let me look something up over here. That's the Sabic, Saba. When we say the Queen of Sheba, as not spelled with an H, but the Queen of Seba with a Seba, and the Queen of Saba, or what you call it in the city coming out of Sudan, a city called Soba, you know? So let me see what I got here. Man, there was a map. I should have left it out. I'm sorry, I'm over here searching. Map that I came across. It's very interesting because, again, you see this city of Soba in west part of Sudan. You see also in the Caribbeans, you see an account where they were looking for the city of Saba, certain merchants and navigators looking for Saba. And then you see there's a city called Saba right off of the island of Puerto Rico, of Borinquen, and one of those I think St. Vincent, one of those islands is very close. And I'm going to show you the map. Okay. Find it now. That's so much up here. Let me see what the map is. This. Oh, that's not it. Very important in the sense of, reaffirming things. Okay. This is how we move. This is who we are. We go more and more and more. Not to get caught up in all those doctrine and dogma, but to get to the source. To get to the source of it. And to recognize that source. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that was mentioned about, and I know some people are going to be thrown back a little bit, it's the fact that we are children of Ham. And but Ham, you see, biblical people took that word Ham from Ham, a Hamam, a Ham, which is also equivalent to the Asiatic form and the African form of Hamet, Hemt. You know what I'm saying? So you see this. But again, in today's day, in today's terms, in today's language, perspective, way things are going on right now, the majority of people see it as a biblical term. Again, you got to say, well, where did they get it from? And then trace that. Where is this photo? Okay, trying to get to this photo. And Yeah, I got so much photos here. I got some nice stuff that I'm going to share with everybody at some point because yeah, I got some very nice stuff here. You know, interesting stuff. Where are you? Yeah, it's not in this folder. That's why I'm looking at the wrong folder. Let me see. Got this one over here. Um, well, when I look for that, I mean, anybody got anything to say? Let me see. Let me look at here. What's up, Isha? What's up? What's going on? You know, be all in blessings to you that you here. I'm looking for some maps that I have here to show you what I'm speaking about. Um, let me see. Either I apologize for this because I should have had all of that ready. Because not okay. This is one photo that I wanted to show. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen in a few minutes. Let me see if there's anything more here to show. We're looking at this one here. Okay, wonderful. Okay, first, so let me show you. I, I can't tell you where I got this. Well, I got this map online, but I found it kind of interesting. We should have showed some more, so I'm going to update this map. But I just wanted to show you, give you a clue of where I'm heading with this. You know what I'm saying? But this is when say that in there was a city in Sudan. See, you have Aswan on top, Nabote, Mankuria. Okay, so I don't know. Okay, Egypt, Nabote, Makuria, and Alondia. Okay, I have to do more research on that. But what I was showing is down here, what it was got the kingdom of Ladoria, and you have Soba or Saba. That's where you find that kingdom, right? Right there, almost at the junction of two now. It's West Sudan. That is Sudan. And go on and on. Then you have the Dongola. The Dongola people were up here, mixed it. So there was a lot of migration. But you look at this Soba or Saba, interchangeable, like Dungola, you know what I'm saying? Dangola, all of that are linguistically tied in when you look at the interchangeable vowels. You know what I'm saying? Seba, Saba, Sibi, Subu, Subu, you know, and that goes interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? Because of the different, again, tonality of different people. So this is Soba, right? Also known as Saba. And most of these people here, when you look at this side, right, right, and you look at Soba, they traveled over, came part of what's known as Ethiopia. This is the horns of Africa, Somalia. People travel over and easily to get into Yemen, which is Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? The southern side of Arabia, we have Yemeni. So as these tribes travel back and forth, back and forth. There's a lot of migration going on, back and forth, back and forth. Became mixed. These houses became mixed. It became Afro-Asiatic. So it started out to be African from the Nile Valley, mixed in with these Asiatic people. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of amalgamation, a lot of family traveling over and trade. When trade happened, families come over, families wanted to merge with other important families. A lot of this deals with houses and families that, you know what I'm saying? And created that particular city, whatever. And then more people started migrating. And you get a whole mixture of these people migrating from Iraq, Iran, and coming down, going to Yemen, and amalgamating over with the West Sudanese. You know what I'm saying? All of this happens right around this time, right around this section. You know what I'm saying? And these people, our ancestors, because they originally started in the West Sudanic, Dongolawe, all down the Nile Valley, the Cradle, and became the seven houses. And those seven houses One of them houses, the seven houses that came out of Soba. Saba means seven. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we were speaking about today, the seven thrones that came out of Saba. And Aswan up here, Faraz, Kwasa Bidding, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to show. But I'm gonna do more research. I have more maps, but I definitely gonna have to do a little more research on that. You know what I'm saying? Let me find the one of the let me see. It should be up here. Oh, Kingdom and Oscar. Well, hmm. Well, Wikipedia, the city of Soba. Okay, leave that. Hmm. Yeah. So, and you could go into Wikipedia and Soba as a city. Yeah. It gives you a breakdown. Yeah. These are Nubian kings, also known as Nubian kings. We share that for yeah. Um, get rid of that. Yeah. Hmm. So you see here, Soba is that city again. Also could be looked at as Saba, is a archaeological site and former town which is now called Central Sudan. So they're doing a lot of digging up there, unearthing. So three kingdoms existed in medieval Nubia. Right? You had the Nobadia from the king capital of Faras and Mukuria, which is the capital in Dongola, and Alonia or Aiwa, with which is the capital. It was in Saba or Saba. The latter used to be the capital of the medieval Nubian kingdom of Alodia from the 6th century until around the 15 EA. Now, Walid Budge identified it with a group of ruins on the Blue Nile, right? 12 miles away from Khartoum, where there are remains of a Meroitic temple that has been converted into a Christian church. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of finding on that. You can look at the archaeological research that was done for the reading and links. Okay, that's what Wikipedia has to say. So we're learning about those kingdoms and learning about the lineages, right? And a people and a migration of people that also, and this is in West Sudan. And look at the timing of it, and then look at the Mali Empire, you know. So the connection that I'm making is that, well, you got 2,000 ships. Some of them could have been sponsored by these Sabiic families and kingdoms, you know what I'm saying, at that time. And as they built their ships and sponsor it and come over, they're bringing part of their culture over. So then leads me to why was the the Spanish crown looking for Saba? Why were they looking for it? You know, where did they learn that from? You know what I'm saying? And why were they trying to make this connection with Saba? You know what I'm saying? And so you see this. And so in today day, and even let me see when was it? But there was a city called Saba and around where 1 second, right off of the coast of Puerto Rico. Let me see if I can find it now. That's just interesting. No, it's not there. I wonder where is it? Where did I put it? Um, man, sorry, man. I hit some stuff. I can't find it, and that's all for. No, I'm gonna You know what I'm gonna do? What's easier? I just gotta search it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. Let's read it. 1 second. So what's in Saba? Wikipedia. Huh, interesting. Okay, here we go. Bring it up. So there is a city that's even standing today, if I'm not mistaken. And that is right here. Let me, if you look at that, you should be seeing that. Let me see. You should be looking at this. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, you do see it. Okay, you see that. So this is um Cuba, and you got what is known as Haiti, and then Santo Domingo right there. Then you have what you call Puerto Rico, all right. You see that, right? Right around there. Then right around here is the area what you call Saba. It's an island called Saba. And when you look at it, Dutch Saba pronounced Saba. It is a Caribbean island, which is the smallest special municipality, officially public body of the Netherlands. So the Netherlands have control over that, right? Why would they name it Saba? Now it consists largely of a potential active volcano Mount Scenery, which is 887 meters, right? Feet, 2,910 feet, and the highest point of the entire, and it is the highest point of the whole entire kingdom of the Netherlands. Now the island lies in the northern Leeward Islands portion of the West Indies, southeast of the Virgin Islands, together with Bonaire and Saint Eustatius, and forms the BIS Islands. Saba has a land area of 13 square kilometers, which is five, I guess that's 5,000 square miles. The population was 1,998 as of January, with a population density and 148 inhabitants per square for 380 square miles. It is the smallest territory by permanent population in the Americas. Its town and major settlements are the bottom, the capital, right? But here's the history of it. Saba is thought to have been inhabited by the Siboney people as early as 1,100 BC, later circa 800 AD. Arawak people from the South America settled on the island, the Siboney, Tainos. And Christopher Colon is said to have sighted the island on November 13 of 1493. However, he did not land, being deterred by island precious rocky shore, by the island's perilous rocky shore. And in 1632, a group of shipwrecked Englishmen landed upon Saba. In 1632, there was already people there, right? In the 1640, the Dutch governor of the neighboring island of Saint Eustatius sent several Dutch families over to colonize the island. Dutch families over to colonize the island for the Dutch West India Company. You know what I'm saying? But the idea, what I'm trying to say, so you know, if you go on and on and on, you can read the major Sabah major industry was sugar, indigo, and rum. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of Dutchmen went in there. There's some areas even in the island of Borinquen where you have a lot of Dutch influence. You know what I'm saying? Dutch. So, but what's interesting is Saba. They named it Saba. if they named it or who named it. But remember that if we got to put the pieces together. When you look at the book that I read with the letters that was sent back to Spain from most of the lieutenants and captains and of those ships, which are the Pinta, they were saying that they were telling them that there was a city called Saba, but they were looking at it towards in the interior of Cuba, right? But remember, the Tainos traveled a lot, man, in canoes and all over those islands. You know what I'm saying? And you never know, they try to deter a lot of these foreigners. And they were telling them, there's already ships here. There's Africans, real dark men coming here and already trading with us, amalgamating in the families, and they're here. They're building their cities. They're building your lifestyle for themselves here in the Americas, letting those people know. And then, of course, letting the English know before you or the Dutch were here. Guess what? Africans were here. This is the city of Saba. You know what I'm saying? They could take it over, and like what happened, so and so and so. You know what I'm saying? But you have to look at all of that. And that's oral traditions. Man, you have to look at it all throughout of how in linguistics, certain words get into our topography, into our mapping and some locations and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And with the linguistics and the agriculture linguistics, you can break it down. You break it down and you say, wow, you know what I'm saying? I like to postulate, think heavy on that, postulate. And I like to think heavy, and I like to also come up with certain hypotheses, right? That are not quite theories yet, but then it becomes theory when it becomes affirmed and speak my truth. You know what I'm saying? To speak my truth. So that's all I wanted to say about, the idea of Saba. It's 3:20. Let me go ahead and just chat. And this is a Mishbati al-Lahaj, which is a Sabiic language. And then I'll just go ahead and chant the first chant called Pa Takyud, which is the affirmation. Right? Anukai Jawif Pa Ashukim Pa Paut. I'm in divine love of the all expanding. Put a little reverb to this. Make it a little sexy. Nah. Wukali Ashukawun Jawif Niya. And all divine love is in me. Anukai Kwasaum Impa Paut. I'm part of the all expanding. Wupa Paut Kawun Kwasaum Niya. I'm the all, and the all expanding is part of me. Anukai Wahu Amah Papaut. I'm one as the all expanding. Wupa Paut Kawun Wahu Amah Niya. And the all expanding is one as me. Nukuk Kwadur Najuh Ameh Kwasaum Impa Paut. And I can succeed as part of the all expanding. Wu Habub Ameh Mushrash and fail as an individual person. Nakuk Kwadur Kawan Kalif Pafif. Nakuk Dayurja Wifa Paut. I can be all that I want in the all expanding. Ameh wasa ameh dayar ni kawun lake bakoy jawi papa ut. As long as my one is to stay in the all expanding. Anukai yabit bais nafashni. I'm never by myself. Papa ut kawun anukai. The all expanding is I am. Papa ut kadur kwadur nukuk kwadur. And the all expanding can I can. Papaut, Amul, Nakuk, Amul, and the all expanding does, and I do. And so, as I said, I invited a few people out, to sit at the summit, and I will continue on doing so. Hopefully, will inspire you. You know what I'm saying, in your journey, or whatever you inspire. So hope that it, knowing that it's going to inspire you to even better yourself and better society. Look at it as a betterment, a sociological, society betterment. You know what I'm saying? Because when we all on the same page, we get to respect who we are, and how we're growing, and our conditioning. We respect all that. You know what I'm saying? We create more affinity and more communication. And that's what the world needs now. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need now, with this new civilization being birthed right now. We want to make sure it's being birthed, and it has, beneficial, and what it needs, the foundation that it needs to grow and thrive. You know what I'm saying? Again, there's going to be people that are going to be against it and try to move against it. But again, this is natural nature. This is all natural nature. You can't stop. You can try to alter it, right? Or you can try to slow it down, but it's still going to happen. It's still going to happen. At the end of the day, those plants, greenery is going to shoot out those damn cement, crack the cement and shoot out. Natural nature, the greenery of natural nature is going to overtake, what I'm saying, the streets, if it's unkept. If you don't cut it out, it grows, because that's natural nature. That's the growth of natural nature, and that's what's happening. Is that this civilization? That's the growth of civilization. There's some people that want to be the exception to those laws. So they want to fight against it. But here to tell you, man, no matter how much you fight, you're not going to defeat, because it's natural nature. When you do, and that happens, then the world is, you reverse everything to a clockwise version, and then it reverse everything down, and we start falling in etheric power. Right now, the etheric, not all the embodiment of all the powers, etheric power is so strong right now, right, that it is moving us back up in values, morals, and principles. It's moving us back up again, because this is a natural nature thing. This is what's happening now. We're coming into the sun cycle. There's seasons in nature. So when you know the seasons you're in, and you know of the powers that be in terms of natural nature, then you get to know, if you align yourself, with that, then that's your superpower. You're charged up, superpower. So knowing that, a lot of the narratives, and when you connect with people like yourself, who's sharing that wisdom, right? So that you can draw your knowledge, and you can also see in your future as also living that second, what they call the second curve. And you're sharing, you're mentoring. When you get to acknowledge that in your elders, and knowing that you're going to be the future elders, you know what I'm saying? So, it's going to progress that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's important. That is very, very, very important for us to think about, to understand, and to stand to reason that. You know what I'm saying? Stand to reason, about these changes, that are occurring, and how it is benefiting you. How is it bettering you? How is it going to better your community, your family, and your community? It's going to make you a better person, for one. It's going to take good people, make them better, like we say in Freemasonry. It's going to enhance you. And I know that that's why I co-signed on the summit, and listening to the Queen of Sheba, Kasamura, your Imperial Majesty. I address her like that, like I would address Padnabal Yananin, His Excellency, our Sovereign Grand Commander, Malachi Z. Kabino York. You know what I'm saying? Those are titles, and you have to acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. You know what I'm saying? There's something else that I wanted to speak about, but I think I'm going to wait on it. because the most important thing that I really wanted to reach out is that, again, I'm going to continue on inviting as many that want to come and to be part of the summit, you know what I'm saying? And just listen at the same time, see how things happen. We're getting ready to start the classes in here in the Americas, you know what I'm saying? In the USA, we're getting ready to start those classes on WhatsApp app. Shout out to my elder Ishmael. Shout out to the people. And those of you who can't really, who reached out to me and says, right now I can't, but it seems to be a lot. Well, that's okay. Like I said, this is at your own growth. This is for your own benefit. This is for your own growth. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't care who you rock with. I never let anybody who I rock with tell me, now even Pat Nabay used to tell me, don't rock with that, because everybody knows, or everybody thinks, or I think that. No, you give me your opinions, you're giving me antisocial thought. And I'm not saying that's what's going on, but what I'm saying is that these steps or levels, because this is when you start doing the 19 courses, you start doing the 3 modules, and you start going to United Nations lessons and stuff like that. These are found in the academy, what you call the African Kingdom Federation Academy, Task Force 1, T1, Task 1, and Task 2, and Task 3, on and on, those levels. So at this level, like I said, this is at your own growth, at your own pace. You take your pace. You take it as far as you want to, just as long as this, at the time that you're reading or studying, or at the time that you're engaging, that you're saying this is going to make humanity better. This is going to make my family better. This is going to better me as a whole. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all. That's it. No more. How's it going to benefit you? Because I know you good, it's benefiting you, and you good, then I know community tribe is good. I know community is going to be good. I know everything is going to be good. And I know you're the person I can communicate with. Yo, we're good. You're good. Okay. And this, communicate. And we're reaching at a certain level. You know what I'm saying? With all respect. So it's at your own pace. At your own pace. You know what I'm saying? There's some that's going to come now and that's going to excel even further than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling them, crown minister or crown ambassador, knighted crown ambassador, whatever. And I just brought them in. But that's okay. Because like I said, it's for the betterment. I'm growing and I'm bettering myself, and I'm bettering my family and my tribes. And I am living my second curve and living it like I am coming to bring, again, that's what I want to speak about. Ashuk. Ashuk. What is Ashuk? Okay? Knowing that I'm living that. Ashuk can be found in the 19 courses when you deal with the dynamic of existence. Okay? That's Ashuk. Back at the Ansar Law School, University, Ashuk was Ishq for us, because we was in Islam. Ishq is divine caring, right? An unconditional divine caring. And that's when we say we in love. And what is in love? Different than when I love something? Because we study, right? And we were told, we were taught that there are 12 forms of love. This is our doctrine, right? There are 12 forms of love. I should read out the 12 forms of love. But you get the picture. You got the love of self, which is the most dangerous. You got the love of tongue. You got the love of mate. You got the love of family. You got the love of tribe. You got the love of nation. You got the love of what they call of tongue. All these, the love of your tongue. And you got the love of your mind. You got 12 forms of love. Right? I'm going to one day pull it up. It's in a doctrine, old doctrine. I just got to go back in my archives and pull that up and actually listen. And the part where he said, you can love yourself or love your family or love your mate, right? But that's you loving. But when you in love, all those 12 forms of love exist within that, because you in it. in love. You're not just loving, I'm loving this, I'm loving that. That's habub. Habub. That's different than ishq, right? And today in Sabiq, we say ashuk. That's different. That's unconditional divine caring, because now in you're living the dynamic, you're knowing about the dynamic of existence and how important it is for you to take care of that, so as help. That's some of the remedies, and to help antisocial characteristics. You know what I'm saying? To kill that. So it's knowing about the dynamics and knowing how you can see that in people, in psychoanalysts, and how you can see that if they're lacking a certain dynamic, then it's a broken chain in that dynamic, in all dynamics. They're not in love. They're just loving. I'm just loving my environment. But do I love my mate? Do I love my tribe? Or I just love my environment? But when you in love, or you're in that caring, then all of it, your mate, your tongue, your tribe, your nation, your environment, the animal, everything, all the dynamic of existence exists. You're in love, all of that, all those loves exist at the same time. That's divine. Ashuk. And that's what I just wanted to come out and say. You know what I'm saying? That's what's been taught, because we've been taught about ishq, habub, and there was another one. Ib, it's from habub, it means love, just love. And then you had what they call ishq, divine love. You know what I'm saying? And then that same doctrine, the same time came over and morphed them to Wu Sabat, because we were living Wu Sabat at that time. Remember, Sabine, the language is so connected with Arabiya Fusa, because Arabiya Fusa came from that. That's the studies when they study Arabiya Fusa in the Saudi Arabian University, they go back into the Sabiic and those scripts and that pronunciations and those tones, they go back into the Sabiic tones. You know what I'm saying? This is done at the university level. You know what I'm saying? I'm sharing this with you. So it was a great summit. I love it. I mean, I'm so honored. You gain a lot of knowledge, and again, that knowledge becomes, when you actually live it in the now, becomes your wisdom. You know what I'm saying? You know what's right and wrong in the history of, in the story of things, in the makeup of a thing. You know what's right and wrong of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's wisdom, and out of that we draw out knowledge, and that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening. And you're with like-minded people that think, not everybody gonna be the same, but you know that the Queen of Sheba, you're like, wow, I have an affinity. I can communicate. I know where you're coming from. I can have conversation with Patna about Yananin. I know where you're coming from. I have that affinity. And many other elders, I have that affinity. I said, I know where you're coming from. The other day I was speaking to my elder Mugdal Abdul Latif in South Carolina, the brother that Tabligh me, and man, the stuff that he was saying, I mean, I just drew knowledge out of it, and it was divine wisdom, if I may say. You know what I'm saying? We all have this in us. You know what I'm saying? So when you see that in your elder, in your brother, in your elder, and people that you're engaging in, when you see that you draw that affinity, that reality, and then that becomes your communication. You know what I'm saying? Very important. So yeah, these trucks or something else. So in like I said, I'm going to keep inviting, and just to invite people to sit in the summit, whatever. And like I said, you go at your own pace if that's something. If that's a what they call camino, a path that you want to put yourself on, and that it has. You see, I'm the type. I'm Musabat, right? I'm Ansarullah, Ansar, Natar, Ansar. I'm Musa. I lean more towards that. My Mali connection with the Nile Valley. You know what I'm saying? And the tribe. I lean more towards that. You know what I'm saying? So I make sure that in Pat Taruk is being matched up, Pat Taruk and Pat Sawab, the truth, and the path, that those books, that those actual, that it's more, I can see that in a person's wisdom. Even if you think, well, they must have read the document, it doesn't matter. But the way they're living and the way they're communicating, resonating at that particular point in time, you have to acknowledge that at that particular point in time, the way you resonating, right? I can draw an affinity, a likeness towards that, and create that reality. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're doing. It's creating that reality, because that's in civilization. And then when the structure of government, parliament and governmental stuff, that's that structure. If you don't want to get involved in that structure, you don't have to get involved in that structure. Many people out here are not a government. The United Nations, League of Nations, that venue, African, some people don't like to rock with the African Union. You know what I'm saying? Because they still hold certain narrative dear to themselves. It's okay. Wherever you go, you see. I'm going to drop a jewel right here that Apana Bayananan dropped on me. His Excellency, our sovereign Grand Commander, His Excellency Malachi Z. Kabir, New York, dropped this down at me in the corner of Bushwick and Hart Street. I'm coming from the fruit stand, while he comes down and he's hanging, and he's on right there in the sidewalk talking to two brothers. So I happen to come, like, yo, what your guys tell you? Because that's what we used to do. We used to see him, brothers there. They see him, and they converse. Some ask questions, or some or he just starts talking, conversing, telling jokes, or spreading wisdom. He's seen them young, but we were young brothers, so he's spreading his wisdom as an older brother on us. You know what I'm saying? He's dropping us some street codes, street wisdom, and he also dropping us some very, things that you would drop on your brother, and says, yo, so I come over and he says, yeah, he says, you see those pebbles on the ground and the cement? You see those pebbles? He says, those are the different departments of government around the world. You have to learn how to move around them and around and around. And then he showed it, and he drew it. It was like like a craft, so you have to move around and around and around. And then I said, for a while I thought about that. Now in today's day and time, the clarity came to me and says, wow, you know what I'm saying? These venues are there. And it's just a matter of moving around these venues to create this civilization. And that's the way natural nature moves, man. That's natural nature moves, that you have move with nature. Connect to the source and let that guide you. And around, not to be derogatory or detrimental to any government or any bodies out there, corporate bodies, governments, right? For federations, nations. You're not going to become detrimental. You're beneficial in the sense of you draw the affinity, and we're all in humanity. We're all in humanity, and the majority of the majority of primordial beings, I like to say, yes, they're using human, so we don't like the word human, but I say the primordial beings, we manifested in this physical body, right? We have, certain ways that we do things. We become corporal, become bodies, and it's to respect all of that. You know what I'm saying? I lost my train of thought for a little bit there. But again, the respect for all these bodies. And so some of us can go through the United Nations, be there, and observe, and also bring in positivity. And when the person sees you, and they see you in your garb, but they see you, where you from? Who you represent? Establish a reality. This is my name. I'm known as this. This is my title because I am part of this. I'm part of that. And it's a pleasure now to meet you. Who are you? and let's get some, I'm interested in learning. I'm interested in learning about you, your culture, your nation. Know that. But at the same time, you got to be proud of who you are. Know your culture and your nation and your tribe. And that's what's important about the Queen of Sheba African Kingdom Federation is that even we come from here, Moorish paradigm, Nuwapian, all these different schools, right, that we're coming from. We now can join into a civilization, knowing who we are, even if you're a Moorish scientist in the Moorish paradigm, you're coming, and we have a lot of brothers that are sovereign, a lot of brothers that are Moorish, more name Als and Bays within the Federation at this present time with the Queen of Sheba. At this present time, you see. So they know how to take that information and take the experience of the United Nations, the experience of a queendom, and knowing how to merge that together. It's like Nuwapians and Sabiic today, and we're Padnabab Yanani. We honor Padnabab Yanani. We honor our Grand Sovereign Commander, His Excellency, our President. We honor him. You know what I'm saying? And now we represent him wherever we go, because you have that affinity, that communication. Now, wherever you go. So I honor the Queen of Sheba, the third, Kasambu Ra, and the African Kingdom Federation. I honor that also. I'm able to merge both and knowing that this is part of who I am. This is who I'm becoming. And so I said, be yourself and be who you are becoming. Be. Right? Because that's your survival mechanism, to be something, to preserve yourself. Right? And don't let fear block that. And don't lean towards that fear of the shadow self, and knowing how to, as an alchemist, and convert that into something positivity. That's the science that we learn, alchemy. That's the science that we learn through the Sacred Order of Tehuti from the Happy Valley. And we learn that also in the Nuwapian or the African lodges, Sabiic lodges today. So again, it's just life as we know it. It's natural nature. Fatar fatar, natural nature. Aum nature in Kemetic science. Saying the aum. And so I'm going to leave it at that. Like I said, I'm going to keep inviting people. If you're interested, also hit me up in Messenger. Let me acknowledge people before I go. Bondo, Rahubat, my brother. Okay, my buddy. At work. Just checking in the show. All right, man. It's a pleasure always to have you, man. Hey, Rahubat, Khalil. Rahubat. So, acknowledging everyone here. Love, Dancy Bui. Love you all. Abub, love, and Ashuk. Because, again, the in love, the dynamics, all the dynamic resistance, the being in love, that is that I love you as my brother. I love you as my tribal brother. I love you as my family. I love you as an individual. I love you as humanity. All those loves exist within that one. And that's Ashuk, which we used to say Ishq. Ashuk. You know what I'm saying? Very important. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, so I acknowledge everybody. Haran, Kab, Rahubat, Zamal, yes, Kisha. It's the drummer, Kisha, Pug. Yes, Bondog. Yes, my brother Bondog. Fire, fuego. Hey, thank you very much. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I came on here to, again, to recap on what's happening on Monday, and to share with you. And I hope that many of you also can do the same, go on to the summit, check it out, and see, gain, and then we can have a dialogue and see what inspiration that you receive from it. At the same time, now to put into practical, to make it apply sciences and stuff like that. Yes, always appreciate you too. So this applied science, you know what I'm saying? We have to apply these science of spirituality. Yeah, because science can become a spirituality. The mastering of the act of inspiring people is spirituality. You inspire people. So that's it. That's that. You can master that to become an inspirational force. As you get older, as elder, this overtakes you and you become inspirational to a lot of people because you live in your second curve. That's wisdom. You know what I'm saying? That's important. And so I invite invite as many people that want to, come on Mondays. Wednesday, we do the classes. We talk about the classes and stuff like that. And all the classes and throughout all of Africa and London and the Caribbean and stuff like that. And here in America, we discuss on Wednesday, what I'm saying? Everybody does, that's just a recap of what's happening because during the week, there's different classes, different sections. Jamaica got theirs on Thursdays, 6 o'clock Eastern time here in America. That's Jamaica, Samaka, So, I invite you for the summit on Mondays because sometimes you got guest speakers who sits at the United Nations or guest speakers that sit at the African Union and stuff like that, or the Arab Union and stuff like that. They come over and they speak in a summit. You know what I'm saying? It's just summits. That's what happens, and even in the United Nations, there's always summits going on, discussions going on, and summits. There's always summits going on. You know what I'm saying? And to be part of that, we have. Oh, another thing I did wanted to touch upon that I did go into the conference of the Sabine Worldwide Conference, and I like when they have representative. You got the Black House representative, you have the White House representative, you got the Blue House. So I haven't seen anybody from the Red House or Shriners being represented there, but you have all these different houses when it comes into colors. These different houses was set up as an organizational structure. You know what I'm saying? And so they were speaking, and the clan mother, clan. She was named the clan mother because of a tribal, connection, and she is the sibling of our master teacher Pandaba Yananin. They call her auntie, who is also known as Wakia, but she is the clan mother. You know what I'm saying? And she took the place of the clan mother because she's the daughter of Miriam Fatima, Mary Fatima, the master teacher's mother. You know what I'm saying? She's the daughter. And so it's important to acknowledge that and to play. That's important. And at the same time, they got on and many different discussions and things went on. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It just, there was some knowledge being dropped. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff I heard before because I think a lot of it was readings and letters that we was privy to when the actual persons that received the letter or when they went to visit our master teacher when he was incarcerated, they went to visit him and he wrote a couple of, they wrote a couple of things when they went back to the hotel. So we was privy in the lodge and AEO to receive certain these communications, but they've never been heard of again. And then now a lot of that communication being surfacing again, you know what I'm saying? And the fact is that, many good things, a lot of planning. So, I appreciate that. And that was very nice. You see, that's a tribal council. You know what I'm saying? That's just their structure, the tribal council. All Sabiic doesn't follow those protocols. They should find that protocol and follow those protocols. It's important. But then there's a lot of, what I'm saying, like always, I'm sure that even in the Queen of Sheba, things ain't perfect in the African Federation amongst her family members and things, and certain other heads of states, so I know that things, tries to stop things from developing. So like I I'm conveying to you that yeah, I did. I was on that conference only because I wanted to know, as far as the because I'm visiting the parade here, in North Carolina, and the connections and seeing how everybody, how again how we can better ourselves, our organizations, our tribal affiliations, stuff like that. How can we better that? But that is very, very important. We gotta, in order to better those conditions, again, you got to develop an affinity, that likeness, and then a reality, and that's how we can communicate much effectively. You know what I'm saying? So that's very, very important. Um, those houses hold certain keys, you know what I'm saying? That's important. And also the business part of aspect of it too, you know what I'm saying? The books and certain information being printed into books coming out. And you know what I'm saying, that always been a means of commodity for Sabi, Ansar Allah all the way down to Nuwapians and Sabians, you know what I'm saying, is the information, you know what I'm saying, spreading it out and creating a commodity, so as to grow from that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. You know what I'm saying? Um, we've been honored and privy to actually create our own employment by using certain skills, certain books and certain skills that we were given to go out there and go out there and survive the beneficial way, a very beneficial way. Pretty soon, I'm going to have some items and some products that I'm going to be pushing because I do want to go out, you know, again, boots on the ground. I want to get out there. I've been doing that lately. Yeah, I'm going to put some footage up. So I've been going out there and meeting people, and I'm going to discuss certain things with certain people that are out there. You know what I'm saying? But I want to make sure I'm doing it right. I want to make sure that I have all the necessary items with me to effect, efficiently can engage people. You know what I'm saying? Make it beneficial in some sense. Wow. Anyway, with that being said, excuse me, that's it. And all investors to you. Wow, telling you. This pollen in the air got me really good. But I forced I said myself, nah, I'm not gonna let anything stop me. I'm gonna get into class. Even if I can't see that well, I'm gonna get into class and stuff. Anyway, that's it. Peace and blessings.